start without these.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. And I have the beautiful, wonderful Tracy Jaco today, certified personal trainer, master Reiki practitioner, a Crystalologist, and a master healer, and just an overall beautiful soul. So we're going to have a fantastic conversation today about just see where the conversation goes about current events and where Tracy's past has brought her here. She has a lot to share and inform us on. So welcome, Tracy Jo.
Thank you, Jamia, for having me. I've been looking forward to this.
Absolutely. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your history and what got you to this place and time.
All right. I have to put my glasses on so I can see. Hi, everybody. I have a unique life, as we all do. I came into the planet here. I was born in Barstow, California, and was raised in a very beautiful and loving, supporting Catholic family. Went to Catholic school from kindergarten all the way through the 8th grade. And then I made a very interesting decision to bring a star child into the world. And I had a child on my 14th birthday. She is an amazing child. She is one of my 2 children. I have a son. He's also another star child that needed to come to the planet. And they are truly my claim to my fame. They're my rock, both of them. They're my right and left lobes of my brain. They're my whole heart together. And they're the reason that I came to the planet, because they needed to come. So I grew up in a fun little town. I loved Barstow, and it was an amazing little town in the gestation period that it was being created. And I have other little things about that time period that, as we're all awakening now, are starting to come back. And I like to say are helping me to connect the dots. It's sort of a funny blend of being a Christed light on the planet, or we could say Christian. A lot of people go by that, but I call it a Christed light because that seems more true to me. And I think I'm a little nervous, Jamia.
That's
sorry.
Okay.
It's all right. It's okay. This is my first interview, everyone. But
well,
I
have to tell you, I love the term Christed light. That is a fantastic term, and I actually can totally see that in you. So
thank you.
Yeah.
So just bear with me, everyone. It's been a long time coming for me to finally get my throat chakra opened enough to be able to share with you some of these very vulnerable things about who I am. And I'm not sharing them for people to think that I'm a piñata so that you can take a stick and beat my story up. It's just a story. It's just a sharing. And I'd love to hear other people's stories as well, because that's part of what's happened here. We've lost the ability to share our truths and to speak into this world. And to me, that's a very, very important thing that needs to happen, the opening of the throat chakra. Because we all have a piece of the puzzle. We're all one little dot that needs to be connected to the next one to create this big, beautiful picture that's unfolding that we're living in right now, this time that we're in. So as I share my story, please be gentle with me. I am an empath, and I am a very fragile soul. I am a young soul in an old body, and I am waking up now. So I offer that to others as well as I hear their stories. There's no story I don't want to hear. As crazy as your story may be, it's important for you to tell it. So as I try to open up here and do this, I might be a little all over the place, but we'll go with it.
Absolutely. It's all good.
Okay. So I think I left off somewhere about my little town that I grew up in.
Crystal. Yeah.
Yeah, Barstow. I wanted to pull that back in because as we're all starting to wake up now and we're starting to hear all these other stories that are coming out about um, super soldiers and deep underground military bases and, all of this type stuff. Those things were not stories that I was waiting to come out now. Those are stories that I know as a child. I have so many memories, and as many of us do, and I think our memories were stolen and turned into fantasies and fairy tales that we've watched on the big screen. But I think they were draining our dreams during that time and creating these movies. That I totally truly believe that that technology has been on this planet much longer than we have been allowed to take part in it. These little earphones and iPads and those are like little pieces of cheese for the little white mouse that we all have been. Everybody knows Disneyland, right?
Absolutely.
Well, go to Disneyland because that's all an experiment. I have a whole teaching that I was given. I don't dream at night. I go to a place where I learn. And over time, learning about these places, where are you going or whatever. A lot of people, you'll hear them refer to it as the crystal colleges or something, Well, you can take this futuristic stuff and take it way back into historical records, because Saint Teresa of Avila spoke of the crystal castles in her teachings long ago. And they also can relate those crystal castles to the 7 chakras and all, overlaying all of these things one right over the other. So I feel like the things that I've been shown, I want to share. They may sound a little strange, but I want to share them because I'm being pushed to share them. I'm being asked to share them. So I'm going to share them.
Thank you.
So my teaching that I was given, okay, first of all, as a child, I came from a great family. I was happy. I didn't have trauma. I was born in this, I went home to the house that my mother still lives in now, I know a lot of people have had a lot of traumas and a lot of things and a lot of stories, but some of us had really good, happy upbringings. And like somebody wants to make you feel bad because you're happy and you're good. Like, oh, you think you're so good. Well, I was trained to be good. I was taught to be good. And I like to be good. It feels good to be good, Yeah. And good is enough. I don't have to be great. I don't have to be wonderful. I don't have to be all this extra stuff. It's just good. I'm good. Okay, good's enough. I'm good. So I was shown, I grew up happy and all of this, but I noticed that on this planet, something wasn't right. It just wasn't right. It wasn't that love that I like to say that I'm love alive in the world. Okay. I'm not love in the world. I'm love alive in the world. My granddaughter coined that phrase to me. She goes, "Oh, Nana, no, we're not love in the world. We're love alive in the world."
Beautiful.
Children will tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Oh," she goes, "Nana, there's a lot of dead love here." And that's really true. There is a lot of dead love here. I love my, I love my pencil. I love my, the teaching I got about the word love was that LOVE, low oscillating vibrational energy. That's the love we give on around this planet. It's not unconditional love. It's just so watered down, because how can I love my iPads as much as I love you?
Right.
And that's exactly what everyone's doing. So truly, I don't know that we're all loving one another around here. So I thought, well, what can I do, to be love alive in the world, even when I was young, you know, I had already made the decision that I was going to bring love to the world. So it's crazy that a 13-year-old or a 12-year-old will decide that I'm going to have a child. I decided that. I picked that because I was going to bring love here to the planet. Well, before I made this decision as a child, I used to be visited by, I don't want to call, I'm going to say they're angels, but they only would come in colors at first because I think that's all that I could handle. And they showed up to me as purple and green angels, purple and green colors, purple and green balls of light that would just be with me. You know, I trusted them. They're still here now. They have names now. As I got older, they introduced themselves. I got to actually see them. Okay, their names are Metatron and his brother Sandalphon, also known as the Angel of Death. One is a creator and one is a destroyer, but they're both sides of the same coin. So they were always with me, and I started getting visited by another little ball of light. When I had decided that I wanted to bring love into this planet, and all my Catholic training probably sort of twisted my mind a little bit, you know, toward the sacred sacraments that the Catholic Church teaches us. There's 7 of them. Again, 7 chakras, 7 sacraments.
Yeah.
Okay, they're all the same. One lays over the other. So I was started to be visited by a blue ball of energy that was this color of the throat chakra. And what happened was I was asked if I would be willing to prepare a vessel for this being to embody. And I was like, I'm just a little girl. What do you mean? You know, I'm just a little girl. And they said, well, Mary brought Jesus in when she was 13. Look in your Bible, study, find it. It's there. She was a young girl when she brought the Christed light in. So I truly believe that I fashioned this child in spirit before I found a guy that I was going to help make her body with. And that was even a whole angelic thing in its own, how that all came about. She's got a beautiful father. He's a loving soul, great person, but we really only got together to bring her here. And we're still friends, and she knows, I mean, everything's great, you know, everything's perfect with all of that. But it wasn't one of those relationships that was to be, you know, it was to bring this life here, this child. And it was so funny because when I had her in the hospital, and we went to go fill out to name her, I wrote Christ on the birth certificate, and they were like, you can't name her this. And I said, why? Because back then, you know, we didn't have all the freedoms of, you know, I said, okay, well, let's just put a Y on the end of it. And her name is Christy, which is Christ with a Y.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So I gave birth to her. She came, and she was 7 pounds 5 ounces. That's a big baby for a little 13-year-old girl. Or she was born on my 14th birthday. She was born in the same hospital at 555 Mountain View.
Wow.
Yeah, and 5 is my number. She was beautiful. She was born on Thanksgiving Day, which saved me and my family. I'll never forget my grandmother holding her up, calling her the Crystalina, and she's holding her up like Lion King in the front yard to the sun. You know, it was beautiful. But she got sick at about 6 months old. She got Reye's syndrome, and we were giving her baby aspirin, and she stopped. Her kidneys failed, her liver started to fail, all her organs started to fail. And so we had her at Loma Linda, and she had more cuts on her little hands and feet than I've ever seen. It just broke my heart. It was just the saddest thing ever, from just blood tests, trying to figure it all out. And they told me she wasn't going to make it. They told us that she was not going to live. And we had the priests come in, and my uncle, Joseph, who is no longer with us, he was an angel on this planet as well. And all I would have to do is show you a picture and you would know it on your own. So anyway, he was called in to be the assistant to the priest to give her the last rites. And they gave her the last rites. And I pretty much had figured, she was going to go. And she didn't. It was a miraculous miracle because God is good. And I believe what happened was she wasn't really, honestly, what I believe happened, this is what I believe. My daughter and I are very much connected. As a matter of fact, I have to show a picture of her because I just have to. Okay, this is her on her 14th birthday. Sorry, that's my galactic thing. I know, but this was a little fun glamour shot we did for where she was on her 14th birthday and not pregnant. Okay, yeah. Because it's not my claim to fame, but when you know what your life's mission is, it doesn't matter.
That's right.
Because some people need to come in and touch 1 million people, and then some people need to come in and touch that one person that touches those 1 million people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love that.
So
yes.
For me, all I needed to do was be the one who helped the one person who could touch those 1 million people, because this empath isn't cut out for that. It's too much. It's just too much for me to do. Okay, so back to my daughter, got sick, and then she got well. What I believe happened during the time that she got sick and went back to heaven, I feel like what happened was her and I switched our soul for just a little while.
Wow.
And she got to be me for a little bit, and I got to go back to heaven for a little while.
Wow.
And then some things were figured out in the heavens, and then we switched and came back. And I really can't prove that, but it doesn't matter because I know it in my heart.
Right.
And so does she. She knows it in her heart. So I've always been very careful with my life and the steps that I take here on this planet. So for me, having a child at 13 was not bad. Would I encourage someone to do it? No. I most certainly would not, unless that's a choice you want. And then I would support you, because that's what I had. I had great support. Okay. So maybe some of the work I need to do is to help support some of these young girls. That's what I'm trying to do with even talking to, is to find my footing and to really just let my spirit come out and say, this isn't my selfie. I really don't.
Right.
I just, even my own reflection in the world is hard. It's hard to be a human. It's very hard to be a human. And I've always said, even as a kid, I've never said I was a human. The word that's always come out of my mouth is I'm a hybrid. And the crazy thing is I had no idea what that meant, but everybody's using it now. But I mean, I knew what it meant for me, but I didn't know what it meant for like the world right now. And most of us are hybrids. We were bred high, in the highest light ever, in the light of God when he made us. That's a hybrid to me. I was bred high. It doesn't mean I'm a bunch of things put together, but really I am, because I have met the other aspects of myself. I'm an angel. I'm a Palladian. And I'm a bird. Yeah, an avian. And I have all of that in me, and I've always known it ever since forever. The thing for me is that my other aspects have been standing in front of my human and protecting her for a very long time. And my human got very comfortable for them to protect me, so that I would always go back and hide and then push them forward. You're not going to be that way to her. That's not Tracy. That's my angel.
Right.
She carries a fiery sword, you know, and I don't take it out very often because I'm not a warrior. I am not a warrior. There are beautiful warriors here, but I am not one of them. I'm something else. I'm a peacemaker. I'm here for when the warrior does whatever it is that they do, and you are slain and laid there. I will come and pick you up, and I will take you to a place where you can rest and recuperate, and then resurrect yourself, not reincarnate yourself, because that's third dimensional to me. I'm going to let you bring yourself back to life, because that's how it works. I may be a healer, but we're in a time right now where all I do is I hold the space and I allow you to generate yourself, and you heal yourself, because that's how this was all intended in the first place. Jesus talked about that all the time. You know, he even knew when somebody just touched him barely. They didn't even touch him, they touched his hem. And he was like, wow, your faith healed you. You know, I didn't do that. Did my cloak do it?
Mm-hmm.
No, your faith did it. You did it. Someone's just taken that authority that I gave you away from you and said somebody else needs to do it for you. And ask permission, by the way.
Yes. Yes.
You know? So, okay, so.
Tracy, when we were talking earlier, you had said something about, it was like a wow moment for me. But when you were talking about earlier and you said, I'm not a warrior, and we were talking about past lives, you were like, I'm not one. Explain that a little bit, because that's fascinating. It really resonated.
Well, what I use past life for now in my work is I want you to go and find the piece of yourself that you still can find in the past life that should not be there any longer, and bring it forward now into this life. You've left a shard of yourself there, which isn't good or bad or right or wrong. It's just what you've done because you're powerful. You can do that. And because you've left a piece of yourself out there, you're not whole. You are not holy, H-O-L-Y. You're holy, W-H-O-L.
Yeah.
Okay. And they gave me a funny teaching about that too. They said, imagine a piece of Swiss cheese. That's you. And here comes a slice of cheddar cheese walking behind you. And the two of you cross paths, and you see yourself in the mirror and you go, oh, you complete me. Because they fill your holes.
Right.
That's not supposed to happen. You're supposed to be whole and whole.
Yes.
So if you're full of holes and you're letting somebody that you meet or somebody that comes into your life tell you who you are, what you're supposed to be doing, how they knew you before in a past life, how the two of you were connected, how you know, how about the two of you venture back into that past life, find that moment, heal it, give each other a high five, nice knowing you, and then come back here and don't play that game anymore, because you're draining part of your, well, I'm going to show you what they said to me. Okay. So here's a little teaching. They teach us that we're the battery, right? In the Matrix, they say that you're the battery and you're being fed off of. Okay. Well, my teachers in my teaching dream time brought out a flashlight, and they said, let's get to that white part. They said, this is you, okay? Right here. You're whole and complete. You're all right here, okay? They say you're the battery, so you're inside there. That's you. The flashlight's God. Together, boom, you and God. Okay? So this is me whole and complete. Okay. This, I wish I was in the dark so you could see it. You see all this out here? This is my crown chakra blown open. Those are all my past lives. That's why I'm not whole and complete down here. Because I'm out here playing all these past life games.
Oh, I love that.
I'm connected to God and source, but I'm out here busy doing other things in all of these lives. That's not supposed to happen. It's not.
And how do we correct that?
Well, you have a free will. This is what I believe happened. When we got here, we got in line and we got a birth certificate and a number, and this little box was inside of you and it was your free will. And they said, you want this birth certificate? And you go, yeah. And they go, give me your free will. And so you give them the free will, they give you a birth certificate, and there you have it. Everything, you have no idea. You don't have an operating system anymore. You've given it away to have this experience. So everybody starts waking up. And everyone's like, awesome, let's get in line. We're all waking up. Go to the front window again, like when we got here. Everyone's holding a number because there's hundreds and millions of us now. 05. Oh, okay, cool. I go up, walk up to the window, and I go, I'm here. What am I getting? And they hand this back to me. And I go, what's that? And they go, figure it out. Next, number 6. Okay. And you're standing there walking away going, how does it work? Somebody asks you a question and you go, oh, I don't know. What do you want? Because you don't know what you want, because you don't know how to use your free will. You are a sovereign being. There should never have been an exchange to come here. I did not exchange. I came here with this. I was nothing but a problem in school. I asked why. I went to Catholic school. Okay, I've got the Catholic school broken knuckles from being hit so many times with the ruler, kneeling on my knees, you know, having to hold the piece of paper between your, so you don't talk, you know. Those are not nice things to do to people. And that's a way to do this right here. Get me out of my body. I don't want to be this. God's not lighting up. Where is he? Oh God, let me go out there. Oh, so much fun around here. And we do this all the time. We jump right out. Now I love this flashlight because it went into a deeper teaching. These are Republicans. These are Democrats. These are Republicans and green, the new green people. Confusion. Okay. They're doing this in politics. Okay. This is the other one. This is the red and the blues. These are the rhinos in name only that flip-flop back and forth. Those are this one's blue and green. Okay, these are the blue and the greens. You see how they mix all this stuff up and create all this opposition? Can you imagine having all these different lives and all these different combinations with all these different people, and you wonder why we can't agree on anything here now? Because we're the Rainbow Coalition now.
I love it.
Isn't this fun? This is a fun way to learn. My angels know that I am not the most brilliant person on this planet. And I didn't have time to go to school, but you know what? I had time to raise my daughter and make sure she went to college. And she went to college with a scholarship for music because she could sing and she could play the piano like an angel and dance. Why? Because she came from heaven. Because what were we created to do? We were created to get up in the morning and be the joy of God's first waking sight. We were to dance, we were to sing, we were to play, we were to look at my art I colored, last night, all of those things at the foot of the throne. And God was never a father that said, that's not good enough. And, oh, you think that's, and you call that dancing? And never once do I remember in all my time in heaven that was ever said to me. Even if I did dance silly or wrong, or my picture was just a scribble. Down here in 3D, we sure are mean to each other about all of those things, and that's why people aren't dancing the way they are supposed to anymore.
Right.
It's turned into something so, I don't even go out. Part of the reason I got into personal training was because of moving energy. Group fitness was my star, let's say that, on the top of my personal trainer, because I was like, I don't want to personal train as much as I want to group fit, because what I learned in personal training was people paid money, which meant then they owned me, and then what I had to teach, they didn't care, especially if they had a lot of money. I became a counselor where I just had to listen to all of their garbage, and all they did was offset garbage on me, and I couldn't do my work. Right. And then I also realized this about my work, which is what took me out of it, is that I was interviewing their ego. I had no idea that was happening. So say you're my client, you come in, what are your goals? What are your, and you tell me, and you're all in your nice new tennis shoes and all your stuff, this is all ego showing up to me, right? Yeah. And I'm interviewing an ego, and I'm trying to make a workout for an ego, when really, when I get you to the place of working you out and the ego leaves because the ego doesn't want to exercise, I can tell you that right now. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's going, what? You're doing what I don't want. I'm going to go do something else. Yeah. So I was failing at that job because I was not getting to the person, to the soul, to the spirit.
Right.
I was only having this conversation and trying to make these workouts and things for these egos, and it just wasn't working. So I sort of had to spin out of personal training, and that's when I got into group fitness, because the group dynamic, there was no talking. I had a microphone and they just had to do what I said. So I was able to conduct that energy, and it was my Reiki training that helped me to start to realize all of these things. But even as a child, though, one fun thing about private school is you get a lot of opportunities that other people don't get, I was conducting the choir in like the first grade. I have pictures of me with the stick conducting the choir, and, but my mom did that too in the church. She sang and played the organ and all of that, So it was by nature that I did that. But it's funny when I go back now and I look at those pictures of this little girl in this Catholic uniform conducting, with this, and everybody doing what I said. Yeah. It was amazing. That was amazing to me. It made me very responsible with my energy. Yeah. So, again, we're having one of those conversations where I had told you earlier, you're gonna have to get me out track, because so much.
I love it. But
so much is coming out at once is why. The more I get to do this, the better and more structured this will become.
Yeah, but still, right now, your story is great, because even the story about going off about conducting, it fits so nicely with what you're doing, because like you said, it does contain your energy. It does show you how to control your energy and where to put it. So actually it's a beautiful part of your story.
Yeah. I believe that, I know a lot of bad things are coming out about the church, and I know a lot about, I'm not a practicing Catholic. When I go home, I go to church with my mother out of respect, because It makes her very proud to have her children sitting with her in the pew. And I love my mother. So I do that for her. I believe that's a beautiful thing.
Sure, absolutely.
To be selfless, to do something for someone else.
Absolutely.
So I may not be practicing because I am an observer here on the planet. That is part of what I do call myself. I'm an observer. And what that means is I came here to be God's eyes and ears and mouth and nose. And because I believe these are the 7 seals right here. The 7 chakra talks about the 7 seals being opened. I believe that this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, and this is 7. If both eyes don't see the same, they're not open. You can be given 2 different smells. You have to, everything has to be together as one. Okay. So they do things, they do things in this reality, in this matrix, we're going to call it that, because I'm going to show you how that works for me too. In this matrix, that's what they're targeting. The eyes are the windows to your soul.
Right.
Which is hysterical because your soul is the bottoms of your feet. And we'll talk about that too. Okay. So the eyes are the windows to your soul. So what the eye sees and the ear hears, the mind believes. Okay.
Yes.
So that is how you trick people. Okay. So if my eyes aren't seeing clearly, say I see somebody, okay, say you love me, but you give me a yank. Are my eyes seeing the same thing? No, they're not. They're not. Okay, your eyes, this is what they said. My eyes should hear, smell, taste, and talk. My ears should see, smell, talk, and taste. Did I do my nose already? My nose should see, hear, talk, and taste. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all of this should be in unity.
Right.
I shouldn't be seeing that police officer beating that guy over there is not something inside of me. It's just going off like that.
Right.
Doesn't work. It's not, you see what I'm saying? That's not registering.
Yeah. Right.
So in 3D, you never have all of this congruent because it's laid out here for it not to be.
Right.
So if you close your eyes in 3D, you can immediately calm yourself down because you've taken out what's holding you here. I can close my eyes, I can go right to 5D right now. Because I've trained myself to be able to do it. I can be at a movie and there's something I don't want to see because it's hurting me because I'm such an empath. I've really had to work on this. And there were times I'd get up and I'd leave 3 other people in the movie because I just couldn't take it. They didn't need to leave because I couldn't take it. But I got to train myself because I enjoy being with people. I'll just close my eyes right now. Okay, fine. You know, you get to where you have the power to be able to do that. But the opening of the 7 seals, when that happens to you, you aren't going back. You'll never allow yourself to see a lie and be silent about it again. You'll smell a fire and you know what I'm saying? Your ears will hear something and it'll go, that's not truth.
Yeah.
You know, you won't be able to speak a lie. You'll convict yourself immediately. It just, the minute that you accept it, truly accept it, you can't be split. You can't be on 2 sides of the fence. You can't. You have to completely give yourself to it. And once you do, it isn't going to be easy or fun. Oh, I've got company coming in now. Jimmy, I'm going to move, okay? I'm going to go ahead and take us out of here right now because I really don't want, and I asked him not to come, but that's all right. We'll go ahead and go out in the backyard and I'll finish this up out there. That's okay.
It's absolutely fine.
Okay. All right, let's go. They can go ahead and do that. Okay. It's a beautiful day.
It looks gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really nice. Okay, so we'll finish out here. Okay. And I don't even know where I was. And I had to leave all my props inside, and that's
Oh,
all right.
we were talking about the seven seals, and once
Okay.
that you align with that, there's no going back. And the last thing you
Yeah,
said was, it's not easy.
it's not. It's incredibly not easy. I had some notes, and I'm just going to kind of use them. I hope you really liked my flashlight
I love it. I love it.
little thing that they gave me. Another thing that I'm just going to share real quick, that I was told, when you're in the process of trying to wake up and your mind is just going all kind of like this conversation is, they told me to get a coloring book.
Hmm.
I'm like, a coloring book? Okay. Because your ability to be artistic needs to be opened again. That's been shut down on you. Part of that was taken away with your free will when you turned this in and got your birth certificate. Because then they decided what you were going to do with race, gender, all of that, So
Right.
you didn't have a free will to go, wow, you just didn't have it anymore. But
So let me ask you a question. So what about the theory that when we were coming into this life, being born, we chose our parents, we chose our gender, we chose what we looked like, all of that? Is that?
I want to give what I think, but
Okay?
I don't want anyone to get angry at me, because I'm a
No,
free will sovereign being. Remember, everyone, I have a free will.
absolutely.
I have it. I didn't get rid of it. And I I I I have an issue with the cosmic circus. Here's what happened to me. I started getting into all this work, and I came from my heart with it. Jesus was a healer. If you ask me about a past life, I'll tell you the only one I remember is being back with Jesus. I remember being in a scene, and the only other life I remember is in Egypt, Solomon's temple. I believe I was taken from Solomon's temple, kidnapped, but we'll go into that later. So when I got into the healing world here on 3D planet Earth, and I started being introduced to things that were not of what I knew. Law of attraction, all of these things that everybody uses. I'm not saying they're good. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying they didn't work for me. And isn't because I left out a part or this or that. I tried them all. I really, truly tried it all. Got my books, got my vision boards, all the energy went into that instead of me really doing something. It just didn't work for me.
Yeah.
It just didn't play out for me, because yes, I love my mother and father, and oh heck, if I picked them, that's great. They're the best ever. I got some really good parents. But I also believe that God might have picked them out for me too. Just a thought, you know. I got into the cosmic circus, and when I started seeing other healers manipulating people's energy, I got upset with that, because I thought that was sorcery. I had a woman actually walk up to me and my friend that we were there together, and said to my partner, I had a dream about you last night after that gentleman did that. They did some kind of a water ceremony, and they blessed all these bottles of water. And this was this Oriental man, and he had everybody come to the front of the room and put their hand on each other's back. I'm very, very careful about letting people touch me. I don't like it. Okay. Especially when I know you haven't done the work and your energy isn't right. Your family's a mess. Your life is a mess. You date terrible people. Oh, 3 of them at one time. And then you want to, go give massages all day long. I just, that's 3D stuff to me. Okay? That's not healing work and all that. And I'm not bashing anyone. Please,
No.
please, no one who's listening, truly from my heart, I'm not bashing what you do. I bet you're great at it, and I bet you've prepared yourself for it, and I bet it's your calling. It's just not mine. Okay. So this gentleman does this ceremony, has everybody touching their back, and he has everybody do this thing where he says, just start making sounds. don't care what comes out of your mouth. Just open up your mouth and let whatever comes out, come out, come out, come out. So all these people are all up there with their hands on their back, you know, and all these bottles of water are out, and they're just doing this. Now I talk in, I have another language I talk. It's like my Native American star language that I just talk, because when I do my ritual, it just comes out of me. My mind is thinking what I'm feeling, but the words that are coming out are, I don't know, people, tongues, you could say that.
Sure.
Okay? So that's sort of like what they were doing up there. So the next day, this woman, you know, has a lovely booth with a huge big copper pyramid in it, and her massage table is underneath it, and she's got all of her crystals and things she sells and whatever. And she just, you know, we're walking by looking at booths, and she stops us and she goes, I was hoping I'd see you today. I had a dream about you last night. This was to my partner. And I saw this thing, and inside of you, and this tentacle, and you know, and I saw one in me, you know, and I'm going, wait a minute, Archangel Michael, where the hell? Wait, how? There's nothing in here. You promised me. I said, because Archangel Michael has a sister named Victoria, and I know her. Okay, so because I have a hard time with men sometimes, and I'd rather talk to your sister. Okay, so anyway, I'm like, hey guys, this isn't real, right? Well, it scared my partner so much that something was inside of him that he paid the money and had her take it out. And then I was not digging it, and I was not going along with it, but I don't think I would have been allowed to get back in the car had I not had whatever someone said was in me taken out as well. So I call in my angels and my spirit team, and I said, okay, come on, protect me, and I'll go through these motions because I need to see what this person is up to and what they're doing. And so she's doing her la la and reaching in, you know, and pulling it out and pulling it out. And I'm like, wow, what the hell is she pulling out of me? Because that's not in me, you know? I'm like, I never gave that, whatever that is, she thinks she's taken out of their permission to get there. And I'm like, God, did you put that there? And he's like, no, I never did that. And she's pulling it out, and she has this, you know, imaginary box that, you know, she opens and then puts it in there and closes it. And, you know, Archangel Michael's supposed to take it out, but everybody sure does give Archangel Michael a lot of, like, sometimes I think he just laughs. He goes, I don't do that. You know, he's like, I don't do that. Anyway, it's just my personal opinion. I'm just, but I was very upset about that.
Right.
Okay. I thought, I don't ever want to be a healer like this.
Right.
And what I started noticing is that people don't know themselves enough that they go to people and they say, who am I?
Yes.
Tell me who I am.
Yes.
I never have allowed someone to tell me who I am.
Yeah.
I know who I am. I'm not this. What you're seeing here in front of you is not what I am. I'm going to go back into the I am of what I am. This is just something that you're looking at that's trying from my heart to be here, to be with you, and to share this so that you'll not be afraid anymore, because my master teacher told me, fear not and never to worry. And I do that. Okay. So once you start to learn who you are, it's scary. It is. It really is. But you're not the thing that birth certificate says you are, or what your job description gives of you. Those are just little costumes you're putting on here, which, by the way, could be a cost to you and me. We all know these little, you know, a doctor, that's a costume. Boy, he's got a big bill, doesn't he? That's a cost to you and me, isn't it? Well, what does a doctor need in duality? He needs people to be sick. In 5D, you're not sick. There's no doctor there. So what are you going to be then? That scares people. I'm a doctor, but you're not. You're playing a doctor.
Right.
you know? So I don't know where I'm going with this, Jamia. This is why I say you're going to have to reel me back in a
No,
little
you're
bit.
fine. What would you say to people that feel like you're explaining that they're not whole, that they're actually looking outside of themselves to so-called healers or other people to fill in that void? What do you say to them? What's the fastest path?
Well, what I say is that you have a free will and that you don't have to do that. I'm not saying I don't use them. So once I know who I am, I might ask a very skilled and somebody that I respect and know, because I do not go to strangers, and I will talk about these things, you know, but I don't ask them what I am. I actually have had some very renowned people try to tell me who I am. And here's one thing that very much upset me. A very renowned person, somebody else went to them and asked about me. That's a no-no. You do not have a right to go into my Akashic records and tell people things about me. You're a sorcerer.
Well, I thought that was against the contract. I didn't think.
So did I.
Yeah.
So did I. And when somebody like that tells someone, oh, well, yeah, they were this to you in that law. If I was there with them and we went together, that's one thing.
Right.
But if somebody goes and asks about me like that, and I'm not included in that, how can you believe what they're saying? My soul didn't agree to this conversation.
Right.
There's a lot of that going around. And I think that causes a lot of rift in people. I don't want someone to be sorry for things they've done to me in the past or another life. I want to forgive it.
Right.
Sorry is not right. That's like, you're not taking responsibility for something by saying, I'm sorry. When you say, I forgive you, or you're forgiven, that's taking responsibility. That's what Jesus taught.
Right.
And I also know there's a lot of people out there that are going to go, oh, she's a Bible thumper. No, well, you know what? No, I've never thumped anyone with my Bible. But my Bible's nice and worn out because I use it. But I also read the Bhagavad Gita. I can't even say it. You know, I read a lot of other books. You should see my shelves in there. They're covered in them. But I'm not searching for something. I go to those books for comfort because when I read them, I go, oh, yeah, this is right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This
and they
true.
line up so beautifully. I mean,
yeah. And even in the Bible, I will say this about it. The Old Testament, I don't really focus on it. I focus on the New Testament. And I know there's a lot of people that have, I don't know if you've heard this or not, but I know there's a lot of people that just are tearing the Bible apart right and left. They're pulling Jesus, you know, they're just saying that he's not what he was, and just like, I don't understand, why do you need to do that? Why do you need to harm what somebody else believes to make yourself more empowered?
Ego.
That absolutely. I don't look for anyone that is a power consumer. One of the things that this one person would always say when he was channeling, and he'd give you a little bit of information, and then he would say, you like that, don't you? Now, you had to agree. That's an agreement question.
Oh, it is. Sure is.
Okay. What if I say, no, I don't like that? And I did. And I wrote a letter to this person, and I really put him in place. And because that's what I had to do. I forgave it. And I said, you have no right to do this. And ethically, what you're doing is wrong. And I am telling you from my soul, stop it. You'll get big karma for that.
Yeah.
So, and I don't bring any of these people's names up because that's not important to me, who they are, any of that. I don't care.
No.
Okay,
and then the karma just leaves to those more past lives, and then you're not whole even more, and then it's just a continuation.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I'm not an expert on any of this stuff. Okay. And I didn't come here to be an expert. Okay. I just came here. Really, this is why I came to the planet. I'm going to tell you a funny little story. I came to the planet. Marilyn Monroe is one of my spirit guides. She's also Mary Magdalene, and she's also Mother Mary. They're the same aspect. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if God looked down at Mother Mary and she was in all those covered up, covered, it's funny. When she took those robes off, she looked like Victoria's Secret under there. Okay. I mean, come on, we're beautiful women. Okay. And our stories are very important to share, and I totally just lost it, Jamia. I totally just went off track. Totally. I'm sorry.
We were talking about Mary Magdalene.
Well, we were talking about, we were talking about Marilyn Monroe, what she said to me. Okay. So I remember when you do the work and you go back and you start unraveling everything, and this was something we had talked about earlier, quantum entanglement.
Right.
Part of what I'm doing and what I was told to do was quantum unentanglement, because quantum entanglement is beautiful. It's a lovely dance and all of that. But the oldest symbol that I could find is called the circumpunct. It's a circle with a dot in the middle, period. That circle is what starts the sacred geometry. But you're supposed to pull all of those beautiful lines back, all of this back into you.
Yes.
Okay. So I could wrap this all around and call this all sacred geometry and make it all beautiful. And it is while we're doing it, but really some of it's not, because we have really bad relationships with each other, going on the planet right now. It's not all beautiful.
Right.
So I'm supposed to, I don't know what we're supposed to do. I'm supposed to be undoing that.
And how do we do that?
I don't know. One step at a time and waking up and having these conversations as we all start to realize, like sharing this little story, oh, wow, that's, a past life out there. Well, look how far you are away from yourself.
Right.
Look how far you've traveled. And this is only one of them. There's a lot of work to do in a lifetime to put yourself back together. What is everybody doing? Is everybody doing this? Are you going into these past lives to get this piece and come back? Or are you just going into this past life to take this other person over here and go, oh, look, we're all in this past life there. We're a soul group over here. You shouldn't be a soul group over there out there. You should be here in this moment, right here, all together, all as one. But this is a funny little Marilyn Monroe story. Let me tell it to you.
Okay.
So I had to do the work to go back to remember being born, because my trauma was this. When I was a little child, my mom suffered from depression. She had 5 children. She was the oldest of 8 children. She was a girl, firstborn, and then had a brother. So she was pushed to the side by because the boys are my mom is smart. My mom is one woman that she's gentle and tiny. If I say anything about my mom, she's a gray. She's a little dolphin gray. That's her energy. She had to have a surgery, open heart surgery. They found an extra chamber in her heart. She has 5 chambers. Okay. So we are all different little beings here. Everyone's waiting for the aliens to come, but we're here. It's me, it's you, we're all here. Okay. So what happened with my mother was she suffered from depression because, she had to bring home the bacon fried up in a pan, never let her husband forget he was a man, raise 5 children, look like a Victoria's Secret model. And, that's the overload. That's not fair. That was never intended to be harnessed upon a woman, ever. So she did what a lot of people do. She retrieved into herself. Instead of going out here, she introverted in, and she fractured herself inside, and she had a nervous breakdown. I think 3 of them. And they would take her to Loma Linda and they would give her shock treatment. What do you think shock treatment does?
Oh, man.
So they brought my mom home. And
what year was that?
What year do you think that was? I was probably between 5 and 6.
Yeah. Yeah. They did that a lot back then.
Well, yeah, because now that we're finding out that was part of the CIA mind control program, That's
Yeah.
called the fifth estate. Okay. So they did that. And as a child, that's hard on you not to have your mom.
Mm.
Even though I was the youngest of five, I still have my brothers and sisters and a grandparents and big, huge family, big Hispanic family, you know. And but you know, you still have that connection with your mother. So, and I remember when she went there, when they were rehabbing her, she'd send home, like they'd send home little art projects she'd do. Like I have a little turkey that she made out of a toilet paper, empty toilet paper roll, you know.
Right.
uh, they were supposed to let her come home on that Thanksgiving and they didn't. So I got that and some cookies that she had made, you know. And I remember being a sad little disappointed girl because this is my birthday and
Yeah.
I wanted my mom, you know.
Yeah.
But when she did get better and they brought her home, I remember being so excited. And so we have a big door with a huge sheet of a yellow glass in it at my mom's house. So when the sun shines through the front of the house every morning, it's this beautiful colors, prisms that it shines through into the house. So I remember the car pulled in the driveway and I remember, mommy's home, mommy's home. And I run to the door and I go to open the door and imagine being a little girl looking up in that yellow glass. This is one of those defining moments in your life that really crystallizes you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the yellow glass and I run, I get the doorknob and I open the door and I'm running, going to go out the front door and they're walking up to the door and I stand there and I'm looking like this little girl that's so happy. And my mom looks at me and she looks at my dad and she says, am I supposed to know who that is? Now in that moment,
Oh, wow.
my mother, who is this planet, asked my father, who was my God,
Yeah.
who this child was. Now can you see this? What happens on this planet? This is what's happened. They've done this. The mother doesn't recognize her own children.
Yeah.
Okay. So that, I didn't mean anything to me then. I was just, you know, my dad, yes, Gloria, that's Tracy. And, you know, but went on, but you know, they go in and you're imprinted with that. And then you
Absolutely.
just go, okay, put that away, drop, slide over. And
Yeah.
you don't. So later on in life, when I was doing the work, putting myself back together, going out and grabbing the little pieces of myself to not be afraid anymore and to gather my power and my strength, I had to go back to that moment and go past that. So what I was able to do is I took myself in a meditation to that moment in time. And then I went through that doorway and my mother wasn't there. And what I did was I went back until I made myself little tiny and probably that little. And I went back to the hospital room that I was born in. And what happened was I was standing in a black room and I start to see this. I'm up in this galactic place. I don't know what to call it other than that. It was like a place where people were all gathering in these groups, you know, and there were like these chutes along the wall. Like if you go to the park, you know how when you're a little kid, you grab the slide and you get in the round hole and you go down.
Yeah.
So I'm over here with this group of women and I'm like, what am I doing here? And I look over and I see this other group of all these women that I was like, who are they? I'm like, look at them. They're all so beautiful. They're all gorgeous. Who are they? And we looked all gray over here. Like, I did not like this. Like, it was like, get back in line for the, you know, and I went, no way. And I look over and it's Marilyn. And she looks at me and she smiles. And I'm looking at her, I smile and I go, where are you going? What are you doing? She goes, honey, there's a man fest down there. We're going down to the planet. You want to come? And I said, heck yeah. So I got out of line and I went with these ladies. I remember grabbing the rim of a round circle and I jump inside and I just start spinning out of control and going down, and everything starts changing. I turn into this yellow, coming into this yellow, bright, bright light. And then it goes black again. And then the next thing I'm hearing, it's a girl. And my mother says to my father, she's beautiful. Isn't that what a mother would say to a father? She has, let's count her toes. Let's count her fingers. You know, Daryl, here, hold her. Oh, Gloria, she's amazing. I had to take myself there and heal myself.
Right.
Okay. Well, that was all good and fine. I got healed. So later, I picked back up with Marilyn in some meditations, and I asked her, what was this manifest thing you told me that was going on down here, honey? She goes, oh, no, I said you're going to have to manifest down there. I was not listening because nobody told me about that. Because see, I didn't come to the planet. I really, in the beginning of all of this was created for us to come and have an experience. This is what I even did with my clients. I got to the point where I stopped caring about their egos. And I said to them, you know what? You guys, a lot of you are an experience I don't want to have. I said, so I think that you need to be, what we need to do here is we need to be creating, am I an experience that you want to have?
I love that. I love that. Yes.
That way, if I am an experience you want to have in every moment of our interaction, hopefully I'm thinking that so I can control the emotions, even if you're yelling and screaming at me. Do I want to be the experience you want to have when you're done screaming and yelling?
Yeah.
This is a stimulus response reality. What do you want to be? The stimulator or the responder? I want to stimulate this reality. I'm tired of responding to what's thrown at me or done to me here. So I just have a different way. I just have a different, it's maybe even a childlike way. These are little childlike things, you know? I'm not going to bring up university books. That's not where I'm at. I'm not saying somebody who isn't qualified to do that shouldn't do that. They should do that. But they should also realize that who they're talking to are scared little children still trying to put themselves back together.
Yeah, I believe that. And truth is simplicity. I mean,
well, don't they? Yeah, you know, keep it simple, silly, not stupid. I don't like that word. That's not nice. Whatever happened to kindness and respect?
Yeah.
And words are very mean. We hurt each other incredibly with words on this planet.
Absolutely.
Even the word, if you say it fast enough, sounds like war. You know, it just does. We say words and we don't know what we're saying. I'm going to even use this as an example because I think I did it last night on Michael Jaco's show that he had on, where I said that I lost my train of thought. I do that a lot. I'm sorry.
Well, while you're thinking, I'm going to tell everybody that you are Michael Jaco's wife. power couple there. So
yeah. We're both doing our work, you know.
Yes.
I'm a whole complete individual. I don't complete Michael and Michael doesn't complete me. We are two very powerful beings and we have two very different things that we're doing. He's a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very powerful warrior. I am not a warrior. So isn't it odd that a warrior and a peacemaker got together? Because opposites attract. But my work with Michael was always about what happens to the warrior when the warrior doesn't have a war to fight anymore, because in 5D, there's no war. How do I get a broken warrior all the way to 5D? How do I help him get there? Okay. One thing I've learned about warriors, they're so powerful. They can be in the world and not of it and go back and forth, you know, but it doesn't hurt them to be here in 3D. It does hurt me. It's obvious. See,
Right.
spiritual warfare is not fun. I didn't come here to fight. I didn't. I came here, you know that I don't know. It's a famous statue of Mary holding Jesus after he's been taken off the cross. I should know what it's called and I don't. That's me. I was there at the crucifixion, but most Christians got stuck there. He's not on the cross. The cross was only a way for you to learn that you have to silence the ego, I guess, because really that's what that did. That silenced his ego, I guess. I mean, but we had other things that we were planning from the moment of that crucifixion. It wasn't about the crucifixion. It was about the resurrection, not the reincarnation. That had already happened in the Old Testament. That was all reincarnation. Jesus was several other people before he came here. But once he was Jesus, he resurrected.
Right.
He didn't reincarnate again. So Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary, we didn't get stuck at the cross. As hard as that was to bear witness to, what allowed us to bear witness was we knew the resurrection was coming and that we were part of it. So that's my work. I want to take the warrior that's been slain, because a lot of them don't die because they just don't. Those warriors are amazing, you know, but they do get hurt and they do need love too. And they do, like these cops, you know, and these military guys that are in an organization with people that are truly bad, evil, and horrible.
Right.
Sticking a tentacle into the guys that are not and the women that are not. And then the women and the men that are not evil and wicked turn a blind eye to what these people are doing. That's how these people keep doing it, while these good people are just want to keep their job and have a paycheck to pay for their lives that they're building. Okay, so we have a lot of that going on in the world right now. I'm not here to heal all those bad, evil, wicked people. I need to quickly get the warrior back up and in there again.
Right.
Because that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to die and stay in 5D. They don't. I've learned that. I thought it was, for a while, I thought, here, let me get you out of here. You know, I thought even with Mike, that's what I came to do, is to get him out. I thought I came to get him out.
Get him out of 3D?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But he didn't want to leave. And I didn't understand that. And then for a little while, it was almost like I tried to become a warrior so I could stay. But I'm not.
Right.
And I tried really hard to be a warrior. Even though I carry a fiery sword and I call myself an angel, that sword was never to cut your head off.
Right.
God put an angel in front of the Garden of Eden with a fiery sword to keep you evil people out of here. That's it. I don't kill you. I just don't allow you in. And here's the great thing. 5D, you can't come.
Right.
Where's 5D? Let's count our chakras here. Red, orange, yellow, green. Right there.
Right.
Okay. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and God was the Word. Okay. Psionics. We're learning about it now. Just because my ear can't hear it doesn't mean that's not sound. We were locked into a vibrational window that only lets us hear what they want us to hear.
Correct. Yes, absolutely.
Okay? There's sound outside of that. There's light outside of that. There's vibration. It's really, they locked us into vibration. Outside of vibration is oscillation. That's what you're supposed to be doing. When you come down into 3D oscillating, it freaks people out. If you can imagine an angel, what they really look like, their face changes. They're like shapeshifters. They're like beautiful, then horrible, then, you know, angels are not this beautiful thing with wings. If you do your research, everybody, they're not. They look more like demons. And I think that people are confused about things. They think everything positive is good. A battery, here's another teaching they told me. A battery has a plus and a minus on it.
Right.
If the plus is drained out of the battery, it doesn't work. If the minus is drained out of the battery, it doesn't work. You need a positive and a negative charge to turn the light on. So if all I am is telling you everything you want to hear all the time, and you call that positive, then I can stay and play in your group. But if I say something that you might need to hear but don't want to hear, now I'm negative and you block me, and now I'm not allowed in your group.
Right.
That's not a cool thing to do. You have to be positive and negative. Angels are positively and negatively charged because they might need to hold a baby, and they might need to stop a bad man while holding the baby. And they might need to stop the bad man, and the baby should never wake up.
Right.
You know, that's a positive and a negative thing in balance, not unbalanced. So pull me back in, Jamia.
And that's just like, and that's good that you said that too, because I mean, even for instance, Archangel Michael, he has a sword, you know, he's shown slaying the demon, you know, so, but yet he has this loving energy too. There's the positive and the negative. So,
well, let me tell you what, let me ask you how positive you think this Archangel Michael dream was I just had the other night. So Archangel Michael shows up and takes me to Excalibur.
wow.
Sword in the Stone.
Yeah.
It's a whole group of us girls, because I
Wow.
train with women, only women. And we're all supposed to get a chance to be pulling Excalibur out of the stone. Everyone's up there doing their thing and whatever, you know, and I wait to go last. I always wait to go last. I don't need to be first.
Right.
I'm an observer. I always wait and,
Yeah.
you know, make sure things are, everybody gets what they need. And
Right.
And I wait to go last, and nobody gets it out. And I'm thinking, oh, it's just some training thing. So I just go up, you know, and I just grab it with one hand, like nothing, like I'm not even trying, you know, like, okay, everybody else looks stupid, I'm gonna look stupid too. And I just grab it, and it comes out.
Nice.
And I have the most shocked look on my face, and Archangel Michael's just smiling at me, and he puts his hand out, and I hand it to him. And he doesn't talk with his mouth. It's just like a psychic, you know? And he says, open your mouth. So I open my mouth, and he grabs my mouth and he pulls my whole head back. It freaked me out. Okay. He opens my mouth all the way, and he takes Excalibur and he puts it down my throat.
Wow.
And he leaves it there.
So what's your interpretation of that?
Tracy got her. It's gonna be by my wanting it. I asked, I seeked, I found, you know, I knocked, and he opened. Now,
Gotcha.
what am I gonna do? Because this was my last warning right here. Okay.
Right.
This is an initiation. This is the eye of Horus. I know a lot of people are gonna go, that's all demonic. You know what? Not for me, it's not. God knows my heart.
Right.
And all of you judging people out there, we're told that. Only God knows my heart.
Right. Right.
Don't you judge me because I take a mythological story and I can connect with God on it. That's not your call. It's just not.
Right.
And a lot of us do this one to another. This is why I don't go to counseling at the church anymore. So why I don't ask people. All they want to do is give you, take this pill, Oh,
Yeah.
oh, when you start feeling that way, switch to this, get out of 3D, go to 5, I can't right now. I'm
Right.
here right now. How do I deal with this?
So Tracy, tell us about your eye. What happened?
I just had a little fender bender. I threw a U-turn and the wheel got ripped out of my hand. I went through an energy bubble. I feel like that sometimes you can go through those kind of things, It happened so fast, and it was completely a timeline glitch. And what it did was remind me, because what I was doing wasn't what I needed to be doing. And if you go back, and I had to come back and I looked everything up. I'm like, why? What's going on? It's everything I asked for. Every bit of what I asked for in the Eye of Horus initiation. Not to mention, and some people might think whatever they want, you're entitled to think what you want, but when I had gone to Egypt, we had gone to Egypt several years ago, and we went with a group of spiritual light workers that wanted to do some work in Egypt. And we went and, did a lot of ceremonies and rituals. And we were in the Temple of Isis, and we actually had a guy in our group that had a glass eye in his left eye. And I was playing the role of Isis because Isis has come into my world. She's also Mother Mary to me. She's another aspect of Mother Mary. And she came to me. I don't let people possess me. I do something that I call interfacing with them. And what that means is I have a conversation. Like, I'll just set a table and put an extra glass of tea and get one for myself, and then I'll just come out and start talking to them.
Right.
I'm interfacing with them. So I do a lot of that. But we ended up doing this ceremony. He actually took his glass eye out. I played the role of Isis, and we did a ceremony in the Temple of Isis and restored the Eye of Horus to its rightful place. And the left eye of Horus is the moon, and the right eye of Ra is the sun. That's what they represent in the teachings of that. I've never gone to any mystery schools. I'd like to do that. But I say that, and then I go, but I went to Catholic school, and that was a mystery school,
Yeah.
Because when you have to go through all the sacrament training, that's a lot. That's a lot. It really was. I got in huge trouble because I wouldn't kiss the bishop's ring. I could never do those things, though. I couldn't do it.
Right.
I was like, I shook his hand. I was almost like blasphemy, He puts it out, and I was like,
thank.
And my mother was horrified, but I just, it wasn't my nature. I didn't know, not doing something right or wrong. I was just like, hi, I didn't know, but I got in trouble for that. But anyway, so this was to remind me, and all of this has been coming online for a very, very long time with me, but I had put it away because people tell you to forget your story. You can forget your story, you can rewrite it. That's part of the new teachings, the new woo-woo, what I call cosmic circus teachings.
Right.
You can rewrite your life. No, God gave you that life for a reason.
Right.
Why would you? I mean, yes, I went back and rewrote what happened with my mother and father in that moment for that 5-year-old child who got traumatized and realized her mother and father, there was a disconnect, but that was never true. So I can heal that in myself.
Right.
Okay. But
well, it's about healing. It's not about rewriting and changing your whole story. You actually forgave to move on and get the lessons that you needed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the forgiveness, which makes you move on to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. I did want to talk about this though. Okay. Because I wanted to bring this up. So we're in the world but we're not of the world. That's one of the teachings that's taken a lifetime for me to figure. So, and probably will, because I still get new teachings about it as things go along. So what I was shown is that there's 3 worlds, not 2, in duality. There's always a third choice. There was a Father, a Son, and a Holy Spirit. There's a Trinity, a triad in 3D. So I was trying to understand how I was in the world, but I wasn't of the world. And so it took me a while to put it all together. There's this thing called planet Earth that God made. He didn't make the world. He never made the world. He made the Earth, planet Earth, your mother. Okay? Now, the world was created by man, trying to be a co-creator with God on planet Earth. The Earth is where they tell you to go back to get in touch with yourself, get out into nature, reconnect. That's the Earth. But you have to go through the world. You have to get in your car, your world car. That's not of the Earth. You have to get it, drive down the world street. That's not of the Earth. To get to the Earth forest, where you leave your Earth car and get in your Earth vehicle that was made out of the Earth. And you go back and you communion with Earth. And you're having a great time, and you look up and you go, oh God, why'd they put that 5G tree there? They just ruined it all. Because that's the world again. In your Earth. So the Earth is here, but she's covered with the world. So I am in the world, but I am not of the world. So I have to learn how to go back and forth between these 2 realities as we talk about a new world being created, a new Earth. Right? So we can get off of this one and go there, which is really what we want to do. I thought for a very long time. You see this? This is me going against the matrix, saying, I'm going to take you down. Don't do that. Talk to the Earth, and let's work with the Earth again. And let's rebuild a new matrix that's more like the Earth instead of the world, because we have to be here. When I realized this non-warrior peacemaker was going to battle with the matrix every day because I don't like it, I'm creating more of it by not liking it, because that's what the matrix does. Okay, so I have to learn how to be on this world. And here's a scene that I got shown by Thoth. I don't know if you all know who Thoth is. He's a master scientist. He's mythological, and you can look him up. Do your homework. But what happened was I got this teaching, and you know the scene in Matrix where Mr. Smith is at one end and Neo is at the other end, and they're in a hallway, and Mr. Smith, they're shooting all the bullets at him. And it's green. It's that Lucifer colored green. You know? We went to that scene, and Thoth froze the scene. And he says, okay, come in here with me. So I walk in, and I'm like, wow, and you see the bullet, you know, everything just like it shows it in the movie, all suspended in the air. And he reaches out and he takes one of the bullets. And when he takes that green bullet, it turns into a seed in his hand, in his fingers. And he said to me, this is life. And then he turned it, and it turned back into the bullet. And he goes, this is not life. This is death. What are you doing? How much do you know about this seed? Because I want you to know nothing about this bullet, pretty much. So I went back and I was like, oh, the seed, the seed. Everyone wants to make this sacred geometry and all this stuff. People don't even know how to make the seed of life. You have to be the seed in order to create a harvest. You have to know how to use your energy. I didn't even know that I was doing it wrong. Okay. So you have to connect the mind, the heart, and the body and ground it into the earth. So if you look at the seed of life, when I learned how to start calling it in, it's a circle above me. I'm the circle in the middle, and then there's a circle below me, and then there's a circle here, 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 and here. So basically, you know that generic flower that you draw the circle and then the petals all around?
Yeah.
Okay. What's supposed to happen is you're supposed to call in the sky, the earth, the north, the south, the east, and the west. That's energy. Those aren't direct. That's everything. You call that energy into you in the middle, and from your heart. That's where you create, not from your mind.
Right.
Everything. This is the thought. This is matrix. I thought this up. Then it materialized. I didn't birth this from my heart. Children are birthed from your heart if you know how to do that. That's why we have a lot of really unhappy, sad children, because parents aren't having sex responsibly, or nobody really even knows what it, I mean, sex is like so messed up, it doesn't even, like, no one's really having it anymore.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
It's not right. It's not.
Yeah.
You have to have intention before you do that. When you make a child, you spend time together, you be in love, you create that energy around you, and then you decide, yeah, let's make a child. And all of this energy comes to you and through you, and you birth that love.
Right.
A lot of people aren't doing that because that's not what they're surrounding themselves with. They're caught inside the matrices of war, but that's all thrown at us on purpose. I mean, turn the black box on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I just got told to tell you this teaching. Okay. Oh my God. I don't even need this because I know this teaching so well. Okay. Most people think that they know who God is. God. The older generation does, and little kids know God in a real innocent way. But most people are not talking to God anymore. They're talking to this little thing that I'm talking to you in right now, called a Global Awareness Wireless Device, GAWD. And don't you say it when you look at it at your new altar that you hold in your hand? Oh my God, did that just happen? Look, and you share it with someone. Where two or more gathered in my name, there am I, talking to this new Global Awareness Wireless Device, God. First person you talk to in the morning. Oh crap, he's in my ear. I mean, I just took you off, you know what I mean?
Right. Okay, very good. Sorry about that interruption. Go ahead, Tracy.
Okay. So we were talking about that new God that everybody doesn't realize they're going to for their answers now, because it does talk in your ear. You know, the Global Awareness Wireless Device that you hold in your little hand, and all of we're not listening to God anymore. They're doing everything they can to block God out. God is not in the world. God's out on the earth.
Right.
We have a false light God here in the world. And they're trying to do the best they can, I feel, to kill God.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's a little disheartening and funny at the same time to me, because they'll never be able to do it. And you would think they'd be exhausted by now in trying, but I know what the goal is. They can't kill God, and they know it. But they also know that I'm a part of God. And if they can't kill God, well, they're going to kill the next best thing.
Right.
And that's us. And if you keep listening and putting it in your mind, in your opened 7 seals that are opened, you will reprogram yourself incorrectly again. So just even like that, just even like that word Black Lives Matter, that's what I started to trust about Mike's show last night when we were talking about that.
Right.
If you say that fast enough, it sounds like Black Lives Matter. And if
Right.
you take lies out of there, it says Black Matter. And if people don't know what Black Matter or the Google goo is, you need to understand these things, because it's how they're getting back in your mind.
Right.
And you have to do everything that you can to stop that. I mean, once you know and you don't change something, what does that say about? I mean, when you know the truth,
Right.
and I'm not convicting other people. I've done this myself. I mean, Spirit has said to me, get out, you need to be doing so, I still want to do this. I'm having a really good time. I'm liking this,
Well,
Okay.
that's what addiction. I mean, that's where people go down the road with addiction, is that.
Yeah, that's true. Well, a little bit to me, I feel like sometimes with addiction, I feel like people are letting things inside themselves that shouldn't be there. And
Right.
that they didn't start out an addict. You know what I mean? The other thing that is in there with them, you're not supposed to be sharing a vessel with another being.
Right.
Like, that's why I say I don't let, like, my channeling isn't like I let somebody in and, I'm channeling a conversation, an interfacing that I'm having.
Right. Right.
That's how it is for me. I'm whole and sovereign all over here, and I'm not letting you in to share this space with me. Some
Right.
people do that. They like it. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I like to be in control of what's going on.
Your
So,
free will, your little free will box.
yeah. How is it that one glass of wine could affect one person one way and not have that effect on another person? It's still the same glass of wine. They're still both people.
Right.
But this one person has all their shit together. And because they have all their shit together, they like who they are. And they're not trying to have escapism by having that glass of wine. They're here saying, I'm a whole sovereign being and I want to have an experience of a glass of wine.
Right.
That is very different than someone who is an addict.
Right.
To me, an addict has somebody else in there sharing their space. I have a no vacancy sign. Sorry.
I love that.
I'm not that lonely. I'm just not.
Right. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
have
for
a
sure.
whole bunch of angels and spirit guides around me all the time. It's unbelievable. I'm alone. I'm an extroverted introvert that loves her introverted time.
Yes. Yes. I totally
I
relate to
love
that.
it.
Yes. Yeah.
Totally love it.
So
But
let me go. I want to ask you about something. You said something about our soles of our feet. What you said that you were going to share something about that.
okay. So I had a teaching, all this stuff coming out about the Nike tennis shoes and the sports people, all those guys, and how when they go pro, they get a shoe, it has a
Sponsorship.
number
Yep.
on it,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
of that. Okay. Why did Jesus wash people's feet? Why are they washing people's feet now? You notice all the rituals they're going through.
Oh, lots of rituals. Yeah.
Okay. The bending of the knee for me was about breaking Jesus's knees on the cross, and they were not allowed to do that. You don't have to bend the knee. Okay. Read your scripture. They were not allowed to break Jesus's legs. He never bent the knee. Okay.
Right.
Anyway, but the washing of the feet, Jesus washed the feet too. Remember that? These are all very scripture things. And then they want to say none of that, the Bible's just a shit book. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
don't read it. Don't read it. You don't have to. Your free will. And leave me alone while I read it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so your feet are what connect to the earth.
Yes.
Okay. Everywhere that you touch the earth, there's an electrical charge that you leave. Where you lead, I will follow because I can find you. If you're energy sensitive, these things are, I can read my house like nothing. I know when anybody's done something not right in my home. And you can ask anyone that knows me. That is very true. But so the soles of the feet are the way that the earth herself could vibrate up into you, your own mother, and you could interact and interface with your planet where you were connected. You weren't separated from her. Now, the minute that the Indians were taken, they put shoes on their feet immediately. And they cut their hair off. This is just an extension of nerves in my body, by the way, if you don't know that. Okay. So if you're the kind of person that likes to shave your hair off your toes and wonder why you're stubbing your toe all the time on the living room ottoman, do a little thing for me. Shave one foot and don't shave the other, and prove to yourself that you will beat the shit out of that one foot and you won't out of the other. Because this was given to you for a reason. Not to color it, but you know, we don't even know what we're doing with our bodies. We don't even know our bodies.
Right.
And I'm an exercise specialist and I don't even know my body and the full power that is in this body. It's crazy to me. So what I found interesting about the shoes and the feet were that's where your soul really does reside. It can come into the body and leave. It comes and goes. I just believe that. Where do you go at night when you sleep? And when you sleep, do you wear shoes? No, you do not. No. That's how you get out of your body at night.
Interesting.
That's just what I think. Now, the reason I think that, they've been locking all these, so then they take Nike Air. Nike was the goddess of the air. Right now, they are attacking the airwaves.
Right.
They're even saying, I can't breathe.
Right.
You know, choking you, putting a mask on you, polluting your air. Well, right now, you know who has control of the element of air? Lucifer. It's in his power right now. It is. And he's using it. That's the element right now that is being used. The airwaves.
You can feel it.
Communication. Yeah. So the shoes, Nike, and all of them going to China and all that, you know, connect all those dots, you know, selling us out. This is a really interesting, the guys are all in the locker room getting ready for their game. They're in there and they're jocking up, calling in their spirits, aren't they? That's what they're doing. Then they put their shoes on and they lock it in. And every single one of those shoes has a code on it. When I learned this, I had to grab my tennis shoes and go, what am I doing? I looked at my shoes. My shoes say this. They say New Balance 515. That's 11. That's my number. 5 and 11 are my numbers. Okay. Okay. So I just had to laugh at that. But I'm like, okay, I'm good. Because, you know, you really want to know what you're putting on your body. You don't know. You don't know what it means.
Yeah.
You know, it's really, really true. A t-shirt with an advertisement on it across your heart chakra.
Right.
People don't know what they're doing. These girls putting this words across their butts as an invitation.
Yes.
Well, you got a chakra back there, baby. They tell you about the ones in the front, okay? But they don't tell you. If you look at the Matrix in those movies, they access you from the back. I do not like people coming up and touching me on my back, or, you know, I don't like that. And I always look for where someone just touched me. Why'd you touch me there? Why'd you touch my low back? Are you trying to get into my sacral chakra? Get out. Forgive them, Father. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
but they're doing it. We do it all the time. Okay.
Right.
And this word called courting, C-O-U-R-T, that we do with one another, it's
Yes.
really called courting, C-O-R-D. And it's an attachment. Do you see how that works?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We don't know what we're doing. We really need to come together as women.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to birth my Facebook page, a new one called Maiden, Mother, and Crone, because I am one. I am a maiden, a mother, and a crone, all in this one body. What I believe needs to happen, I listened to this gentleman about Black Lives Matter talk about how blacks need to teach blacks, Latinos need to teach Latinos, whites need to teach whites, men need to teach men, women need to teach women. And this isn't racism.
Right.
This is not racism. When you're strong in who you are as your own person and race, you can come together in peace and harmony.
Absolutely.
I have no problem with that. That is not segregation to me. And
Right.
if that's an agreement that everyone wants, I think that should be gifted out from ourselves as a consciousness to ourselves as a consciousness to create this peace and harmony. Now, when you get your whole group and your circle healed and whole, and within your own group, blacks don't have racism. They don't
Right.
feel like slaves anymore.
That's right.
Well, some of them do. I'm not speaking for all of them. But I have
If
I
you're
have
if
a
you're
couple.
if you're taught the wholeness though,
Yes,
and that personal the wholeness of who
responsibility.
you are in your personal
Mm-hmm,
responsibility,
mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm.
wouldn't have that because you wouldn't feel offended or you wouldn't feel the separate. You would feel more unity to others because you wouldn't look at them as separate.
And uni, let's use that word, uni, one, okay? We were talking about the third eye. People talk about in this new age, opening the third eye. Then I had to go back to my spirit guides and ask, what's this third eye? That's like, I would look ugly with a third eye. What's a third eye? Who's teaching third eye? Couldn't get an answer. Jesus is like, why teach singling the eye? I don't really know anything about a third eye. When the eye is single, when duality is not allowed, when there's no up or down, there just is here and now. That's third eye. I mean, that's singling the eye. Third eye, like there's even a band called Third Eye Blind.
Right.
That tells me that you're blinded to the truth. It doesn't work for this being. I'm not saying if other people have had great success with having three eyes, go for it. But
Well,
for me, singling my eye helps me not to have worry or doubt. I'm not split. I'm in the knowing. And that's what
right.
this life for me is. Know thyself. That's the I'm not on any path either.
Right.
Okay. I don't do paths. I don't do third eye training. I'm on the way. Jesus said the way, the truth, and the life. Now, when you know the way leads to the truth, and the truth leads to a life that you want to live. Some people go, the way, the truth, and the light. No, it's not light. He didn't say that. He never said anything about that. He didn't say that. It's the way, the truth, and the life. So for me, the way is the truth. So if I'm following the truth and I'm in search of the truth, I'm on the way. I'm not on a path. Like,
Right.
I'm not a pather. It's okay if people, it's like tomato. The path
Right.
could be the way. I don't know. I just wasn't taught it was called the way, the path. I was taught it was called the way. You know, Jesus says, I'm going to prepare you and then I'm going to send you on the way.
Gotcha.
You know?
So Tracy, all of this study about the pineal gland and opening, you know, the calcification of the pineal gland and all the symbolism through the ages of the pine cone and all of that. So what is your theory on that?
Well, I think that I'm an antenna, I'm a receiver, I'm a stimulator and a responder. I'm an antenna and a receiver. I receive information and I put it out. Okay. A balanced pineal gland to me doesn't give out disinformation. Some people give out disinformation. The pineal gland, it's the star on the top of the Christmas tree. I mean, a Christmas tree is not complete until you put the star on it, right? And you don't even put the star on your Christmas tree in some traditions until Christmas Eve. You know, you got a decorated tree that just sits around and there's no star on top. You know, that's kind of how most people are walking around. They're not putting the star on top. It's funny, my baseball cap I wear has a star on it. It's a Cowboys hat. And the star is my symbol. It came with me when I was born. I have so many things that I've saved over the years, because to actually have something to show someone is so much more valid than just saying it.
Yeah.
You can make up any story that you want.
Right.
And if you're a good sorcerer, storyteller, or whatever, people are going to believe it. But I want to see proof. That's just the kind of person I am. I want to see it.
There's a lot of good storytellers these days.
A lot. A lot. So I save so many things, you know, like the little picture of, you know, me conducting the choir, you know, because
right.
Like I could just make that story up, but that picture validates what I said. It's not just something I made up. But we were talking about the pineal gland. I'm not sure how we got here, but sometimes I feel like they give us all these symbols and things, just spend so much time wrapped around them trying to figure out what they are.
Right.
You know, it's an amplifier and a receiver. It's my communication device in my head. Why do they want to shut it down? I don't know. So they can control me, I guess. You know, I don't know.
So you don't necessarily call the pineal gland the third eye?
No, I say it goes on when the eye is singled. When you
Gotcha.
when you single the eye, the door's open. You know, when you Carlos Castaneda taught singling the eye.
Mm-hmm.
He would teach how you cross your eyes and learn how to keep your eyes crossed, but learn how to focus on what you're seeing between your eyes being crossed. That's the truth. That's what Carlos Castaneda was saying, that's the truth. How many people can even sit still for 2 minutes and hold their eyes crossed, much less grasp the thought of trying
right.
to, these kinds of things take work.
Yeah.
And here's something else I've learned. You know what? It's not going to be the same for me as it is for you.
Right.
That's where some of this discord and, not being able to come together. No, it's not that way. It's this way. Well, I don't care if it's that for you. It's that way. That's great. Can you, that's why like a picture's worth 1,000 words. I'm not just telling you it's that way. I got a picture showing you. I really did it.
Right.
I like validation in things. That's the thing about spirituality. I can't validate it for you. I'm not going to argue about it. I'm just happy you're having a spiritual experience. So what you're telling me is you're working on trying to open up your pineal gland right now. How's it going for you? And what are you doing to do it? And when you finally allow yourself the moment, it'll happen. That's what I know. Right. We keep it from ourselves because somebody gave me a whole list of rules. I got to stop using fluoride. I got to clean up my water. I got to stop doing this and don't eat some of that. And what did Jesus say? He said, it wasn't what goes in your mouth that defiles you. It's what comes out of it.
That I believe, yes.
That's exactly what he said. So I don't care if you've decalcified your pineal gland. It's opened up big as Texas. What's coming out of your mouth ain't truth.
Right.
So you used the no fluoride toothpaste and took the fish oil and did this and that and other, and you're still talking lies. But you want to go tell everyone your pineal gland is open.
Right.
I'm
right.
not looking out of my third eye at you. I'm looking out of my eye that's singled at you.
Right.
And if your actions, words, and deeds are not all the same, what does that say?
You're not walking
Come
in
on.
truth. Yeah.
You're not.
Sure.
Go do some more work.
I love it.
You know? I
love it.
I don't know. I have other, teachings and things that I like. I love a lot of the galactic cosmic stuff that's coming in and that everybody's waking up to. I love people discovering their hybrid selves because, like I said, I am hybrid of God. Why couldn't God throw angel DNA in here? Why couldn't God throw avian DNA in here? And why couldn't God throw Palladian DNA in here? Because he did. And I can tell you about all of that. Only from the little simple way that I know it, though. And the way they teach me. They have to be very simple with me. I can't, like, I try to take all that in. I've read all of Alice Bailey's books and all of this, and they're just so out there, but I read them because I know that if I put the words in me, I can process them inside here.
Right.
Though I am the supercomputer. AI, as far as I'm concerned, I grew up with AI. My grandmother called them angel intelligence. And she told me they were always watching. They saw everything you do. They see you when you pick your nose and eat your booger. Don't do that. Because if you do that in public, people are going to think of something about you. So just know the angels are watching you. So that anytime you get your finger there, you go, oh, the angels are watching. That's going to be recorded. You know what I mean? So I grew up with AI, but they were called angel intelligence, not artificial intelligence. And although in the world I have a lot of artificial intelligence around me, I am surrounded by angels. Yeah. I am just surrounded by them, and they're never not with me. So
lovely. Yeah. Well, Tracy, what would you tell everybody to finish things up here? What would you say to everybody to do to get in touch with that knowing and higher self? That, because I think there's so much mass confusion right now because the narrative and everything going on. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of frustration. What's a little bit of advice that you would give to others?
Well, here's the advice I was given, and I'll share it. Okay. You were given a special little secret place inside of your heart that no one's allowed to get inside except for you and God. And in that little place, you need to go and ask for what you want and really mean it when you ask. And know that God doesn't always give you rainbows and sunshine and flowers and all of those things, okay? Those are nice things too, but sometimes you get heartache and heartbreak and sadness and sorrow. And when those things come, if you really want to get back to the rainbows and the butterflies, you better face the storm. You better cry. You better scream when you need to. You better get out of you what people are trying to put inside of you that you're supposed to house there for them. I'm not doing that. I don't have a vacancy sign here. I'm not housing those nightly news stories. Right. I'm not housing what's going on out there in those people's worlds and their life. They needed that experience. They called that into their life. And as we're learning, a lot of those people are crisis actors, and we're all being given a good show.
Right. Yes.
Or we're being given a good bad show, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
But I don't want people to have a false belief that this is going to be easy. and that it's all going to be fun, because life was never intended to be that. It was intended to be this incredible array of an amazing experience where you came here to hone who you are and prepare yourself for where you want to go in the next life, most beautiful soul, because you never die. Do you understand what that means? It means don't worry about living your life so seriously in this moment now. You have to be preparing for where you're going. Part of your life, that's what it's for. I believe now where I'm at now in my Maiden, Mother, and Crone stage, that's what this is about. I'm preparing for where I'm going. And I'm not afraid of death, because one of my angels is Sandalphon. And the thing about Sandalphon, when he takes off the black cape and that reaper that he holds, he's got on this really cool green and khaki colored farm outfit that he wears. And he takes that and he digs the dirt out with it so that you can plant seeds in it. Okay? Don't be afraid of him. Don't be afraid of yourself. And don't be afraid of your shadow. You are light and dark.
Right.
And you're more dark than you are light, because you're here in 3D.
3D.
You're dense and hard and shadowy. So I want people to come. I want them to come. I want them to crack themselves open so that little tiny root of the seed can find the earth and start to grow and vibrate again and become part of this consciousness that's coming up out of the ground, and you can be a part of it, but you have to want it. And a lot of people like the world. They're afraid that if they can't have all of the things to do, like death is like so nothing. How do you know? You've never done it. You're a chicken.
Yeah.
You never even, you don't even want to think about it. So how do you know that there's so much of nothing there? And if there's so much of nothing there, what are you afraid of nothing? I'm more afraid here, you know, and I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. If anything, I get sad here because I want so much for everyone, you know. I want to be that love alive in your world that you can't be in your own world right now, but I can't do that anymore. There was a time that Jesus could be that love alive in your world, but he told you, I have to go, but I will send another. And I do want to say this, because this really was, I had an incredible spiritual moment in my life. It's written down, I think it was in 2001. And what happened was, I was with my girlfriend, we were going to go to breakfast, and she goes, hey, let's go to the Rock Church. I heard it was really cool. I said, Lori, I do not want to go to a church. I said, come on, we're getting out of this church thing. She goes, no, it's one of those new ones. Let's go. I said, okay, let's go before breakfast. I said, and as we're driving there, and I go, okay, I guess it really wouldn't hurt to go. I kind of feel like a sieve, like I've been leaking a little bit of energy. Let me just go be around happy people. Okay, we'll go. So we go to this church, and it's one of those churches where you push open the doors and the doves fly out and the women are dancing in their bare feet, and there's a big stage with a huge giant white cross and rocks, and the lights are up on the cross, and the big screen, and everyone's singing the songs, you know, guitar playing. Not your normal Christian church, you know. It's called the Rock. So I'm getting antsy, and I'm like, okay, let's leave. And she goes, no, we're going to stay for the end. I like when everybody goes up, and I like to pray for the people. And I said, okay, we'll wait. And so the lady's talking, and they're doing that last little prayer call, you know. She goes, and if there's just anybody out there who feels like they've just been leaking like a sieve.
Oh my gosh.
And I looked at Lori, I grabbed her, I go, oh no. I said, I'm going up there. She goes, she just laughed at me. She goes, you said you didn't even want to come. And I'm like, I gotta go. I said, you heard that. So I go up, and I go, there's like 5 or, you know, 8, just a bunch of two by twos. you know, up along the stage there. So I go up and I pick these two women, and I'd never heard tongues before.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you are working with tongues, somebody speaks English and somebody talks in tongues and they're interpreting. That's how tongues are supposed to work. This should never be just somebody jarbling at you. There
Mm-hmm.
should always be somebody interpreting what's being said.
Mm.
So the one woman's talking in tongues and the other lady's interpreting, and she's saying, she says to me, God says that you needed to come here today and that he has something special he wants to bestow upon you. And then the other lady starts talking. You're a little bird in his hands. And I happen to have a tattoo on the back of my neck. It's the only tattoo I have. I put it there to seal my Alta Major chakra. And what it is it's a white dove with a blue eye, and it's holding an olive branch in its mouth. It's peace dove.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's on my neck. So she said that about the little bird. And then she starts talking in tongues again. And the other lady says, I'm going to reach out my hand and touch you now. And about that time, my body's shaking and I'm thinking in my head, I'm thinking of my mom, and I'm thinking, oh my God, my mom is going to be so upset that I'm in this church, because she's a devout Catholic. Okay.
Right.
And I'm saying, I got to get out of here. That's what I'm thinking. Right. And I'm like, I got to go. And I cannot move. I mean, I literally am having one of those moments you hear about people having, and I am not one of these kind of people. Okay. I can't move. And I'm trying to go, and I'm going. And this lady, I see her hand coming. She's coming. And all she does, she did not shove me. She did nothing. She just touched me. Girl, I went down on the ground. I started shaking. I'm looking up. It feels like my mouth, like I'm slobbering everywhere because everything was just running my eyes, my mouth. What I'm seeing is I'm seeing balls of fire. I see three flames. They come down in a spiral. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And then, girl, I am gone.
Oh my
I am
gosh.
out. When I went out, we were in a church full of people with people getting all prayed on. When I came back, nobody was in the church. The lights were out. I had a blanket over me. My friend Lori was sitting in the back waiting, and the lady that had slain me on the ground was sitting there with me. And I started to wake up, and she's reaching. She said, oh, okay. And she holds me, is holding me because I'm shaking and I'm confused because I don't know what happened.
Right.
And she starts to sing a little song in my ear about a little bird going home. And then I don't even remember other than the little bird going home, because after she's done, she pushes me back and looks at me and she goes, you're home, little bird. And that was about all that came out of that. And then her little daughter comes running down. She goes, Mommy, can we go to breakfast now? It was the funniest thing. It was the funniest thing.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know truly what happened to me during that. I've looked, and I don't want someone to tell me what happened, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that will want to tell me their version of it. But I could tell you what I remember. I remember I went back to the resurrection, and I was there when Jesus came out of the cave and didn't recognize him.
Mm.
And what that did for me to bring me back into this now moment was it solidified for me that I was there.
Mm.
And that I am part of a group. I don't need to find a soul family. That I am part of a group, if we know each other or not, that I am connected to on this planet, that is bringing the resurrection energy back to this planet.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So that was a very profound, because I've never had something incapacitate me like that. And I really don't like to tell that story, because people will say that a demon got into me. And that is not true.
Yeah, I don't.
Because this house right here doesn't do a bed and breakfast
Right.
for demons. Okay. I don't, that's like, no,
Vacant.
absolutely
No vacancy,
no.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So if I could just kind of wrap it up, because we've been going and I really appreciate it, because this has really helped me to birth my voice. And I hope people that are listening, that as crazy and whatever as this sounds, remember this is just the virgin launch. You know, I was a maiden once. See, you can be a virgin again too. Launch your spirit and your soul and go find yourself. You know, you're beautiful. You're the person you've been waiting to find. You're not going to find yourself in somebody else's eyes. You're not. I've tried. You're not. Go look in the mirror. If you haven't done mirror meditation work, go do it. Light a candle, sit in front of the mirror, and watch yourself change shape, color, beings, and then tell me who you think you are. Okay? You're you. Find yourself, and then fall in love with yourself. Because until you fall in love with yourself, there is no one out here that you're going to be able to love. And there is really no one to love out here.
Right.
You need to love yourself. When you love yourself, you just are love alive in the world.
That's right.
You just are it. You're not trying to become it. You're not looking for it. You are it. You are what you are looking for. It's you.
Absolutely.
So we can leave it on that.
Absolutely. Tracy Jo, thank you so much. I know
Thanks,
it's,
Jamia.
Thanks for your vulnerability, and because I know that we wanted to do this and it was kind of put off, and I'm just proud of you, and I'm happy to do this. And
thank you. Help launch the newbies. We really, us old young souls, we really do want to come out. We really do.
Yes.
It's time. It's time.
And do you have your Facebook wall up yet to where I can link it?
I have it up, and I'll do my best to get it to you. I am not a techie girl.
Yeah, I'm not either.
But that doesn't mean that I can't learn
We'll figure it out.
Here's the deal. I'm the supercomputer, and you want me to try to figure out, you know, something like this with all these wires and everything. And I go, you know what I mean? It's like, I just want to be love alive in the world. And I just want you all to join me there. Come and meet me there. And let's open up these women's circles and have these talks for women who are not confident like in what they know they're doing. It's funny. I know what I'm doing. I'm just not confident with it in the world, because the world likes to beat you up. But we have to get brave, come back out onto this earth, and help to build a new matrix. I don't want to hurt the matrix anymore. I thought I did. Yeah. And when I did, I was at war. And now I realize, you know what? It's just another thing that someone created that wanted to be loved too.
Right.
You know, like a drug addict that wants to be healed. How is it any different? It's not. Let's make a new one. Let's build a new one with our love and all our good ideas and all our seeds instead of bullets, like Thoth said.
Love that.
So
love it.
All right, y'all.
Thank you so much. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.